live. We are back. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Ask Somebody Else. Today, we have an amazing special guest on. For those that don't know, this segment is all about your opportunity, your time to be able to ask another industry expert something around the property field. So today we've got something that a lot of you guys have been asking about, which is a builder. How do you find a good builder? And all the questions you'd like to ask a builder. So let me see if I can get our special guest on now. And yeah, hopefully, I think he's going to beat the record for the most punctual guest today. Let me see who we have in the building. How you doing?
Good evening. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. So I'm just going to reintroduce the segment. So today we have a session which I love. It's called Ask Somebody Else. So it's my opportunity to ask the questions, to push all the burden of responsibility onto our guest. So today we have Chris from Square Mile Builders. From what I know about them, established building firm, obviously from the name, you can see sort of centralized around, sort of a high net worth area in terms of their builds. He's today presenting himself from a very nice exposed brick. So I like the background. I like that you're already showing us the class that you have that you're working with, sir. So go on, introduce yourself. Tell the people a bit about you.
Yeah, Kazy, good evening, mate. Thanks very much for introducing me. I like the music intro there, mate. Very professional, mate.
Because I realised everybody else has been a bit slow on coming on. So I thought I need to warm up the crowd. And I was watching the boxing over the weekend, and Dylan White had a great ring walk. Shout out to Dylan White, good win over the weekend. And I thought, you know what? I need a little ring walk. And what better to go have than a bit of Rocky?
Love it, mate. Listen, I can get used to that, that's for sure. Without that. Thanks very much for introducing me. Yeah, my name's Chris. I'm the director of Square Mile Builders Limited. We're based in North London, but we work in London and surrounding counties. We work primarily in residential, but we're sort of dabbling into commercial and sort of trying to go into development aspects as well. Another division of the business. I've been in the business now about 10 years. I had a carpentry company before that. I am a carpenter and joiner by trade, so I have a profession within the construction industry. Yeah. Also, my father is a builder, sort of slowly retiring, and my granddad was a builder. So within my family tradition, my family sort of surname is within 100 years experience within our company. So it's always something that's a passion, it's a family business.
Comes from a long line of experienced tradesmen. Love that. Love that. Okay. And so how long has your company actually been established for?
So as I said, just been about 10 years now.
About 10 years now. Okay.
Yeah, nice. About 4 or 5 years limited now. Basically, we just anything you can think of building related. We're more sort of extension specialists, stuff like that, house restoration, lofts, etc. But as I just mentioned, we're sort of moving just to create an option for our products and service for our clients to do development. As your speciality, mate, smashing it what you're doing. Just offering that turnkey service for our potential clients and existing clients.
Yeah, because I get asked so often in terms of obviously one thing, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle when becoming a developer or wanting to invest in property. One of those key pieces obviously is building your team, and a key segment within that is the build team, because they can be make or break. I've had some nightmare experiences. I'm pretty sure almost every developer individuals had some bad experiences and some great experiences. But I guess the first question, the starting point from asking somebody who's actually within the trade is, how does somebody go about finding a good builder?
Yeah, mate, that's a great question. And, we've shared the stage on the Clubhouse, and we get that question quite a lot, but I'm always happy to answer it. I think it's 3 key aspects trying to find a good competent tradesman. I think the first one is your sphere of influence. So your sphere of your area, so your work colleagues, your family, your friends, people that know a good competent tradesman or company. They've used before, they've been in their house, they've seen their work. So that's your sort of first sort of foundation of trust in finding a good competent tradesman. 2 is obviously doing your due diligence. So once you find a contractor, they've come and had a site visit, you get a good rapport with them. If you're happy with their budget, then you go and look at the last sort of 6 months projects they completed. You can see their building techniques, their finishes, how they operate. Obviously it's a bit hard at the moment, obviously with COVID, etc. But you can speak to the client to give you a reference as a point of view. And then thirdly, but not last, obviously reviews. For us, we're sort of quite, even though we're a modern building company, I'm still young and trying to make it in a modern way by using social media, etc., and showing what we do.
Yeah.
We're very old-fashioned in the fact that we used to go, oh, just word of mouth and stuff like that. But reviews, as you, mate, can certainly understand, is so important. So like Trustpilot, Facebook Business, Google, just them three as a starter. Just looking at their reviews, you can create a picture of how that person, how that company operates by different clients' testimonials.
That's it, really. At the end of the day, a good builder is a busy builder. So a busy builder is going to have jobs that are ongoing that they can show you. They're going to have clients they've recently finished. And if somebody's sort of a bit cagey with wanting to show you their work, or they're introduce you to previous clients, you've got to think there's kind of got to be a reason behind that.
Definitely.
I think one thing somebody mentioned to me as well, which I didn't really think of, but I guess is a lot of the time is actually, particularly maybe for start, maybe people not in your position, but earlier on, also just looking at like the sort of the financial position of the building firm you're instructing, because depending on what your payment terms are, if you've got almost like a balloon payment at the end, you kind of need to know that, you know, how would a pre-funding works depending on the sort of the finances that you've agreed. So I think definitely managing how you plan to pay the builder and your contract that you're going to have as well with payment terms, etc., is probably quite important in that regards as well.
100%. And I think that we've sort of noticed as well, what we want to say is it sort of reverts back to the client as well, as the client got the money to pay. You often our service, and we need to know that obviously we put on our care and attention into your project, and we're starting for you at a certain date that you're happy with and we're happy with, that we're not going to be let down, that you haven't got the money, you say this and that.
No,
so we got to do our due diligence. I mean, I'm not talking about if you're doing a kitchen or a bathroom that's between 5 to 10,000,
but when you're going upwards of £50,000,
so 100k, yeah.
It's in reality, it's like buying a house. So it's like proof of funds kind of thing. Look, do you have the money? I'm not saying I need it all day one, but you know, do you have the money to do the project? And likewise, again, I think it's a mutual relationship. You're building a relationship that hopefully, particularly from a development aspect, will be a long-term relationship. We'll be working together, and down the line, you won't be worried. But at the beginning, if I said, look, Chris, I'm going to credit check your company to make sure you don't owe anybody a ridiculous amount of money, to make sure the balance sheets, etc., are reasonable, I'm sure you'd be fine with that because you know your position's fine. Likewise, on the other side, if you said, look, Kazy, you know what, I need to see your proof of funds because you're signing me up for 200k worth of work, I should be able to say, look, yeah, I'll show you evidence that I either have it, or here's how I'm going to cash flow the business, or here's my letter of finance from the bank to say they're going to back fund it based on, you know, whatever my financial agreement is with them. So I think, yeah, that's really important. And I think, so you still, even with where you are, you still do like your kitchens, bathrooms kind of projects for your residential client?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is for us, I mean, if it's something someone's going to hang a door, for the setup we're based with our team, etc., it's no point in us doing it. You might as well get a handy person or handyman or handy woman to do it. But if there's existing clients, they say, like, Chris, can you do a bathroom? Can you do a kitchen for us? And it's £10,000 worth of work. Then of course we will, because the thing is, more times than ever, you never know what it can lead to, what it can relate to. So it's all a contract in the day. We're in the business to help. Obviously, we're here to make money and be more successful and profitable as a business and grow. But at the same time, it's trying to help as many people as possible. Really. That's what we're in it for. I'm passionate about what I do and I love what I do. So,
okay, then this is a bit of a give back. So if a lot of people in here maybe are looking at their first time investors or early investors, or they've got maybe their first residential property and want to know how to add value, where would, because I know you said you're kind of starting to branch into development and adding value, there's a conversation that comes up a lot of the time as well, which is rear extension versus loft conversion, which is kind of which adds the more value and also which is more expensive to build as well. So where do you sit among that sort of?
It's a good point, mate. I think, to be fair, I mean, it just depends on every kind of clientele, depends on every kind of case, depends on every kind of property, as I'm sure you can agree. If you think that you're going to turn as HMO and SA or something like that, and it has to be about units, it has to be i.e. rooms, then loft is a no given. So if you know for a fact that you've got a 3-bed, you want to turn to 4, and you know you can get 4 HMOs out of it, or 4 buy-to-lets, for instance, then you would do that. But if you've got a position where you've got your strategy, your template is getting sort of high income individuals, near to a train station, amenities, etc., then put an extension in the back, because they know they're going to look after the property. It gives you that more well-being, that open plan kitchen, feeding space, how you live, and it's how about you care about your tenant and how you're going to do it. It's residential, I would say extension as well, but
yeah, because I think that's really it. You have to think about, and that's really the answer. I don't think there's a sort of one size fits all answer, but when you're doing anything, you're always thinking about, okay, what is my exit strategy? So what are my long-term goals? Because if let's say I'm doing a flip, and for me, I do a lot of like 1 bedroom to 2 bedroom, because that's where the biggest jump in value is. The difference between a 1 bed and a 2 bed, sometimes just through internal reconfiguration, moving a kitchen, a bathroom, etc., can add 50,000, 70,000 pounds in value. But as you get from, a 3 bed to a 4 bedroom house, an extra bedroom doesn't add loads of money to do an entire loft. However, creating, a massive open plan kitchen living room in a house may add way more value than the extra bedroom. So I really think, that kind of question does come down to your target demographic, who you're going to sell to, or who your end user is going to be as well. But on the lofts, so I know, again, this is very vague, and I'm not promising that Chris will build your loft for this price. But what kind of what are the ballpark, industry rates for single dormer, double dormer, hit to gables? It's like, where are people at? What do people would they have to budget in a very like rough shell? I'm not saying finish, etc., but as to high end and as vague as you can go. Without just
fair play. I mean, the thing is, right. DM square mile builders, and we'll definitely sort you out. But no, definitely on a Victorian terrace. Terrace, the thing is, it's as you know, mate. It's how long's a piece of string. We try to break it, dissect it into 3 things. It's obviously standard price, medium to range finish, and then you've got your high end finish. So if, for instance, it's going to be a contract, you're going to rent it out, for instance, then you just put the cheap sort of sanitary area and use everything sort of up to plaster finish. Sort of 30 to 35, something like that.
Yeah.
Then you've got your medium finish with the nice tiles, a big 60 by 60 tiles, a nice shower. Maybe add some more sort of storage solutions.
Yeah.
Maybe 40 to 45. And then if you're going the high end with all the lights, the big skylights, the frameless window, the sliding doors, etc., the Juliet balcony, you're probably looking 50 to 60, something like that. And which is the standard original terrace.
And away from the finish, what's annoying is when somebody asks me this question, it's, look, I don't know what way your joists run. I don't know, like, I don't know what the structural drawings are going to be like. And also sometimes it's like, I don't know your architect. Some architects are amazing and design it so it's easy to build, because maybe they have a crossover into the industry. And some architects just draw whatever's easiest to build. And then they're telling you, but you got to get a sani flow because the joists will run that way and the waste is at the back of the house. You've got no waste at the front. And do you know what I mean? So it really, it depends so much. But I think those are really good headline numbers in terms of like base finish, excluding, your what if category, but sort of 30 to 35. What was it after that? You said sort of 45.
Yeah, 40 to 45, and then 50 to 60.
50 to 60. But again, it just literally depends, because if you're talking second fix, like a tile can cost £5 a square meter, or it can cost £200 a square meter.
Put marble in.
Exactly, and it's, so, and now as well, especially with the current, there's a lot of stuff in building is like trend specific. So like at the moment, big tiles are a massive thing. People love the idea of like, they don't want to see grout lines, just want massive tiles. It's like, okay, when I've got to pay 4 people to carry this tile, just each single tile, and then you've got to cut it and do all the niches and everything, that's way more expensive than just, do you know what I mean? Just standard like 30 by 60s.
That's the thing, it's common sense, isn't it? I mean, we've laid sort of metre by metre tiles. We've got a company once, we've done a flat refurb, and they had 8x4 sheets of composite slab. It's mental, and they laid one of them, it cracked. Mental, isn't it? So just goes to show, isn't it? Did a bathroom about a year ago, and it was literally the whole bathroom that had like 6 tiles in it. Everything was individual, just sheet tiles. Like, okay, look, we've got this wall, floor, and that was it. Like, I just wanted it all seamless. But no, it's nice. It's nice, but it's nice when it's like my only, like when I'm on your end of it and I'm being a contractor, my gripe is that, okay, if you're happy to pay £400 a square meter per tile, but you expect me to do the installation as if I'm installing
£20 a square meter tiles. Like, where is the balance? And I think that's also one thing in terms of you saying you get what you pay for. Like, there's no point trying to really scrimp on your labor costs, but then want a high-end finish and be paying for bespoke German kitchens, because like someone could get a £30,000 kitchen, but then not get a really experienced joiner to fit it, and they might have well just gone and got a kitchen from B&Q for £4,000 because they didn't finish it in the way that kitchen deserved. So I think there is definitely a balance when you are looking for a tradesman, and make sure the tradesman is fit to obviously the finish that you're going for as well.
What I do tend to find also is there's no insult or sort of just any sort of niggle between clients, but a lot of people, obviously Pinterest being one, our website being another, they see all these minimalist stuff we finish and it looks amazing and we're proud of it. But people think that's quite easy. They're disillusioned by the fact that there's a lot of experienced staff making it look simple. It's like anything. It's like when you see a golfer or a snooker player or footballer, they make it look easy because they're good. They're the highest.
Can you play golf?
Of the game. I can play golf, yeah. Okay. Won't play for a while, but
you like to play golf. Like to play a bit of golf. Like, golf looks proper easy, but it's not, and it hurts. Like, if you hit it, I jar my wrist. I've done trying to. And I realised, it's not just about trying to swing up. You're going to teach me a bit of golf because I like golf.
I'll get you over, mate. No problem.
Yeah,
don't snap clubs in half. No, it's just all about technique, mate, and mental agility is the most important thing with golf. It's one ball and a bit and a metal stick.
Is that where I'm failing in the mental agility? Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know, mate. I'm sure you're probably good at it, but that's basically my personal review on it.
Okay. So we got another question. Sure. I don't know again if this is your area, but it's from Sheena Free. She, I believe, has asked, do you recommend going straight into a small refurbishment as your first investment project? So I guess that question is it's semi-build related. It's like, how difficult from a client perspective, or how much, if you're quite a novice with the right builder, do you think you'd still be comfortable in like a small scale refurbishment, maybe just a full refurb of like a 2-bedroom flat, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, mate, especially as someone who's going to be new to development, mate, your experience, you know how it works. You've been from the bottom of the tree all the way to the top. And you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? You've got to start something simple. Don't go with something too big, jump in the deep end of a swimming pool, right? You can't swim. Doing small stuff, we're more than happy to do that, because if we get a good rapport with that potential client that we can use again, and we do the project on time, money's good, everything's fine, it's working really well, then at least you're going to move on to other things. They're going to go, right, they could remortgage, use their strategy to find something else for you then, because you've had that rapport. Obviously, the two things I stand by, which I'm sure you can agree, is just trust and communication. If you have them two working in unison together, and I say it tirelessly, but honestly, it's the two most credentials that needs to be adhered to.
I think, communication and like just being able to work with somebody, like a builder, you are going to speak to them. Like, when you're doing a decent sized project, you're going to speak to a builder every day. Like, it's like being in a relationship. So you need to be able to work with them. Like, and I think you work that out a lot of the time in your first 5 minutes of conversations. You work that out if they're on time, and even if they're not on time, if they text you to say, look, I'm running 5 minutes late, sorry about that. Do you know what I mean? It's just like managing your expectations. So I think a lot of the time, like with so many things, I really rely on gut feeling. Like, if I meet someone and I feel like I can work with them, 9 times out of 10, my gut's right. And, you know what I mean? If I think, we can do some good business, we generally do. I think back to that question from Sheena, I was recently asked by somebody, they kind of gave me their numbers and they were looking, and it was their first project and they wanted to do a new build. And probably, like, investment wise, was about 140k all in, with about 20% return on investment. But I was kind of like, your risk and reward ratio are quite low there, because you're doing a brand new build. Like, there's so much stuff that could what if factors on a new build in comparison to maybe like a tidy up of a 2-bedroom flat, that, you could maybe go in a slightly more expensive area, but then have a lower risk element, but still put the same amount of money and still get the same out, but your risks are a bit lower. So I probably would say to try a smaller scale refurb for your first project, potentially something that doesn't maybe even need planning, it's just building regs. So you're not going to get tied up, particularly if you've got finance costs. And that would kind of be my advice. Got another question come in. I guess they like the price. They said, what about the price for a rear extension, creating an open plan fill? I'm going to kind of I'm going to give you a what if. So I'm the client now, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a what if, just to kind of make it a little bit easier.
Because if I say, your money's worth, literally, didn't you? You get your money's worth.
Of course. Like, listen, this is my opportunity today. This is my opportunity. I'm supported by loads of people who come in, they like my stuff, they repost my stuff, they send me lovely messages all the time. So obviously, like, it's free things. I create some more good content. I get people that I know are good on, share their work. Hopefully it's good for you. And also for other people, they get an opportunity, because for me, I charge for my time. I'm sure if someone just wanted to do a site consultation, you potentially charge for your time. So they get it for free. So I have to maximize it. We've got a little bit less than an hour. So I've got to get everything out of you I can today. So I'm saying, I am Mr. Smith. I've approached you and I'm saying, look, I've got a building about 5 meters wide. I want to do a 3 meter rear extension. I've got no massive trees around, no like Thames water build over. It's pretty straightforward in that it's 1 meter deep foundations, double cavity wall, and just like standard sort of flat roof. What sort of just for the shell? Like, I don't know. Let's just say, or shell and first fix internally. So no second fix. What sort of cost are they looking at there?
First of all, I say, Mr. Smith, you don't far too much.
Well, Mr. Smith has been on the old Googles. I've been to Googles.
That's
I've been
dangerous.
to YouTubes.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous as well. But
Google is a dangerous rabbit hole.
No, it's a good question. But something similar to that, to a shell, to a plaster finish, that the fixtures, the fittings, the tiles, the skirtings, the bifold doors, etc. It's so hard because logistics, for instance, if it's in a terraced house, there's no entrance. If there's a semi-detached, it's much easier. Is it on some of them? We've had to go down in the basement and go back round to come back up for the extension, stuff like that. So
I know some of them. I'm sure you work with some of them fancy ones where you see the what's it called? Like, that brings like all the rubble out on the chute to come up.
The extract, the tremolator.
They look fun. I haven't had to use one of those yet. I think I shy away from terraces. I look at a terrace and I say, oof. It's a lot of work, that.
As it has in the day, doesn't matter what size, shape or form. So, but no, come back to your question, mate. I think it's a tough one, but I would say you're in the ballpark between, again, 30 to 40, something like that, plus that. With a fixed skylight in it, for instance. But it's like you say, it's all the ad detail. So you could spend £10,000 on cripple style doors or bifold doors. You could have a 3 meter by 1 meter skylight, opening skylight, that cost you another £6-7 grand. So the list can go straight up. You have a 20 grand kitchen.
That's the thing, but then on the other side, you can get now, like, there's some really good products that you can get. Like, I've seen lovely, what have I got there? It's probably about 2 meters by 1 meter, that skylight, and I think it cost me 600 quid. Do you know what I mean? You can get some really nice stuff at a good price and match the whole Instagram finish. But it's just a case of, what do you want, like what area, and also knowing your target audience, what you're going for, because again, there's always a ceiling price within an area. If it's your family home, then I guess you get your ceiling price is how much enjoyment are you going to get out of whatever you spent. But when you're looking at, as in from an investment perspective, it's slightly different.
I think also, I was just saying that materials good. Yeah. That's another one that can alter significantly. So, for instance, that price would probably be a rendered finish. Now, if you wanted a stock brick like behind me, that's an original brick, as I do, it's 3 times the cost of a standard brick. Yeah. And if you're willing to supply at the same kind of price, then you can't afford that, because it's like 1,500-1,600 quid a thousand. So probably more now. So you need to know that the right materials and the right costing. But probably for that kind of cost, it would be probably rendered finish.
Yeah. And I mean, it's funny, a lot of the stuff goes in cycles. Like, so rendered finish wasn't that popular, and it's become very popular with the K render as well.
K render,
a lot of people are matching. I mean, I love a K render. People are asking, I love a bit of K render. I like the finish, but obviously it depends for the right type of property. But when it's like 1930s, 40s, 50s, and they're not really nice bricks, and they don't really have that period feature, I just think, what? For me, that's kind of where I'm going, because that's where the market goes, particularly if I'm selling. But then if it's Victorian period, then I love to tidy up and have the natural exposed bricks. I just doing some flats out in Streatham at the moment, and I saw we'd gone back to brick, and I saw the fireplace, and I was like, oh no, don't no, leave that.
Yeah,
I'm going.
yeah,
I've got a
lads.
shop. I'm going to say, leave that.
It's not.
I'm going down to the shop. Don't you dare plaster that. That looks lovely.
Stick that in the skip.
That's good. So go on, couple other questions did come through. Yeah, I mean there
Sure.
is like some people were asking about the disparity between pricing. There is a difference in price. A lot of the time we are talking about London. I think it is cheaper outside of London, but to be honest with you, it's not that much drastically cheaper because material wise in particular, it's pretty much the same. There are some cheaper labor costs, but it's still, and I think that's why London, we get away with doing so many loft conversions and extensions, because the added value is justified in the price, because our prices are a lot higher in London. I think one thing that you touched on when talking about extensions and the loft conversions, and I think people ask about, are like, what are the things that people don't consider that kind of can push up prices, or in a loft conversion or a rear extension? So like, I guess a starting example would be like your drainage, like build over stuff and moving drains. Any other things that I guess if people are just considering adding value to their home that they should maybe be aware of?
I think you've sort of answered, and you know as well as I do, but a lot of clients and potential clients and customers don't realise about contingency and additional costs. You should always have 10 to 13% contingency on per project, because, as you say, drainage is our number one item, as it were, that we just unforeseen. It's nothing. It's not the client's fault. It's not the builder's fault, but the builder can't afford to pay it. So it's a detail that I've heard of some stories that then you start doing a job and they're like, literally, I've got the money for it. And you're like, have you not allowed for like crumbling walls and existing period properties, for instance, that you go to skim it and then the whole thing peels off with the lime and plaster? I mean, you can't expect us to do that up.
Half the time it's holding up the house.
It's true.
I think our world record was about 16 different layers of wallpaper on top of it was genuinely like going for a time machine. You went back from like 90s, then it was just all the way back to it was ridiculous.
Orange and green flowery patterns.
Orange and green flowers, then the green and white vertical stripes, the orange circles. It had all sorts. If I had that, it would be TikTok perfect. Like, I would have just been doing this. I would have gave you a day in like last 50 years of decor in the UK. But no, which is good. There was an interesting question actually that somebody asked, and I lost it somewhere. It was about a cloakroom. Someone saying, if you wanted to install a cloakroom like WC under the stairs, do you need planning permission?
I don't think you do. From what I know, what you do need as regs though is you need extraction, ventilation. A lot of people I've seen when they come in, they go, "Oh, I've got damp and all these problems," is because by law now, for the building regs, you need to have extraction, mechanical extraction, not just a window. And obviously under the stairs, you wouldn't have a window, so you have to make sure that there's mechanical extraction. Obviously, doing your drains as well, but.
I think so. The main thing I think is like you need your building regs, no plan, building regs for your drainage runs and make sure it's been done properly, and also your extraction. I think, and that's the other thing. If you're kind of looking at your house and you're playing around, it's very easy now you can either find somebody with an identical floor plan on Rightmove, or you can just do one by hand, or there's a couple apps. When you are thinking kitchen and bathroom, you need to think about how are you going to get to the outside, because your air's going to have to go outside and so is your waste. So if you're kind of having a play around even before getting a builder involved, you do need to, if you consider those things, then it makes the whole process easier. And you can also consider the cost as well, because sometimes you've designed your dream layout over the course of 2 months, then you get a builder involved and day one they say nah. Sure. But so I think that can be difficult. I'd like to think, give me a nice job that you've worked on recently. Like, what have you enjoyed building? What is it? Is it somewhere something that people can direct people to find on your Instagram? Like the project that you've really enjoyed?
Well, we enjoy most of our projects are sort of extensions. So we enjoy that. I mean,
have Channel 4 Link reached out to you?
No, mate, to be honest.
Oh,
I've been on radio.
No, Channel 4, they've got a new series coming out about. they want to like showcase some really nice extensions. I'm going to send you the link for it. I forgot about
Fair
that.
play,
I thought I
mate.
sent it to you.
Appreciate that.
No,
No, fair
right.
play. Appreciate that.
Sorry, but yeah, so go on. Tell me about a nice extension. What have you done? What were the details that you thought that worked really well, whether it was your idea or the client's?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Just trying to think. So one about 5, 6 years ago was a big boy we done. In Shepherd's Bush, total house re-gut out, big glass atrium at the back, brand new loft, all in zinc. Worked with these architects who are, well, they're actually lecturers at university, but they've sort of slowed down their residential now. That's why we're sort of looking for new architects to work with. But their designs are just out there. So brickwork designs. We build up a false wall. You see it on my Instagram now, but you see it. We built a false wall, but I forgot the name of the pattern, to be honest, which is terrible. But every brick had a gap, so it created that natural daylight. And then 2 floors were glass. So one was just a high ceiling downstairs loo, but the effect it came in when the sun shines on it, it comes through sort of these little beams. So it was fantastic. They've got the massive old atrium. We fitted a thing called Umni tub, but not a lot of people use them. They're basically a bathtub, a Japanese bathtub made of fiberglass, but you can use it as a shower tray as well.
Oh, wow.
So, and you build steps up to it, and then so you can have a bath. I mean, you can't. It's not like a traditional bath where you stick your legs out and put your legs up, but it is. You can put your arms around the side like a jacuzzi, and it's like that. And you can put additional things in it, like jacuzzi bubbles and stuff like that. But the beauty of that is that you can have a shower. You can have the down sort of mushroom head shower head. So you can create the whole thing as one. So little details like that we really enjoy.
Fun. I think they are fun, and like you said, like looking as much as it could be frustrating, like looking at stuff on Pinterest. There's so many like nice ideas that you just can't kind of wait to be like. I'd love to be able to do that or implement something like that in either one of my projects. So have you stepped into development yourself yet, or is it something you're planning to do in the near future?
Well, yeah. Be honest, we're looking into it. It's something obviously. Being builders, our head's been down just looking after our clients and working at high-end residential and domestic residential. But obviously, mate, sort of meeting yourself through Clubhouse and learning different things and listening to people. I've sort of took a step back and realised that if I can do amendments to the house and build houses, why can't I build it for a position for an investor that way, so we can create our own sort of developments in the future. So it's something we're definitely looking into, mate.
No, it's definitely. I think there's so much like what do they call it? Like vertical integration. So obviously, if you know that you can build at a good price and you build relationships with other people that are in the industry. I've got so many friends that are, conveyancing solicitors come developers, architects come developers, accountants come developers, builders. And it just makes common sense because you know the industry, you've built the contacts, you have a related skill set that you're already bringing so much to the table. You're way more likely to be successful than somebody who's starting out from afresh, or you can use that skill set to work alongside somebody that maybe doesn't have the expertise, that has the capital, or doesn't have the capital and expertise, but has the time, and vice versa. And yes, I think that's really good.
Let me revert the question back, mate. Obviously, because when you do your videos, you obviously look like you're hands-on. Have you actually got on the tools yet? You actually use a Kango or chop saw?
So let me be very honest with you. I'm good at a lot of things, but like construction is not really one of them. But I have plastered, I have tiled. Like when I did literally like my first bathroom and first house and first place and painted. I'll tell you what I'm good at. What I'm proper good at. I'm probably better than you are at this. Bit of demolition. All right, get me out there. So like that used to be like my therapy. Just going down to a site, like still appraising stuff with like my construction team, still going over stuff. I'd just go down there with my sledgehammer and just start breaking stuff.
It is good, isn't it?
That is good. I mean, right health and safety, do you know what I mean? Safety goggles on, all the biz. But listen, get down there on a quiet day, on a day off where you had a bit of a stressful week and do a bit of demolition. Oh, you can't beat it.
You don't need no gym either. Don't worry about the gym.
All right.
All day.
And genuinely, so like again, starting out, I didn't have the skill set. So honestly speaking, I learned early on that, you know what, there's no point me trying to tile when I'm good planning, I'm good logistically, I'm good at appraising deals, I'm good, I'm a people person, I'm good at closing deals. That was my skill set. But what I didn't, just because I was doing that, I didn't say, let me shy away from manual labor. So I'd be there with the broom, making sure the site was tidy, just making sure I was on site. So if I'm on site, people know, look, if the boss is on site, and he's tidying up. Like, you've got no excuse to not be staying till the end of the day, be working hard. Oh, you've just run out of plaster, no problem. I'll run down to Wickes in the van and I'll go and get like 20 bags. Oh, no, you keep working. I'll bring it up the 3 flights of stairs. So like, I think it's more about the graft mentality that helped me, as opposed to actually having the skill set and identifying that that's not really for me. And I'm sure, like, being a joiner, there's certain things that I'm sure you can do, and like just working on site, you learn so many different bits of a trade, but there's no point you doing a Sparky's job because you might not do it right. You're going to take however much longer. They're still going to have to sign it all off a deal properly at the end. So like, you can focus on what your expertise are and get the right people on to do the right things around you. So that was kind of how I built my team. But even up till now, like, I don't mind, like, I like clothes and I don't get to wear any of them because I'm always just in like combats and a hoodie, because it's just like I'm on site and I know I'm gonna have a bag of multi-finish over my shoulder at some point in the day. So there's no point wearing a nice jumper or anything like that.
No, it's true, mate. I'll ask this, mate. You wear more of your uniform than your own clubber.
Right,
whole wardrobe of clothing
every day now. Even when I'm going out, like, I'm like, oh, do you know what I mean? Just embrace it now. It's every day.
You're building your brand, mate. You're building your brand. That's what it's about, isn't it?
Exactly that. I think someone asked a question that I think you've already answered. But you could answer it again for those who are maybe new and just coming in now, which was just how you got into the industry. Like, so your background to building your current brand.
Yeah, happy to answer that. So basically, I left school at 17. I was going to leave at 16. As I'm sort of briefly touching before, my father was a builder, so I was always going sort of on site on a Saturday when I was 7 or 8, burning my hand in the tea bag, mucking about the lads' flat, sweeping stuff up. And then 16, I was going to leave school, and he said, "Look, there's nothing else you're going to do. Why don't you just sort of do another year at sixth form?" And I thought, I just can't be bothered. But one thing that sort of made me who I am, to be fair, and how I run a business, was I've done business studies for a year. Don't ask me why, but I've done it. But all I did sort of learn from it was profit, breaking even, and losing. And I knew for a fact I didn't want to do the losing, like in debt. He didn't want to be breaking even. You got to go profit. So had that skill set, and then obviously worked with my dad. He said to me, "Look, get yourself an apprenticeship. I'm not going to do it for you, but what will do for you is I'll pay you to go to do the apprenticeship," which is fair play to him. So I said carpentry was the one, because my dad was a plasterer. Bless my late granddad, he was a spread as well, a plaster spread. And I said to myself, well, you know what, I know I've got to go down that family heirloom, but I wanted a job where at the end of the day I could just sort of brush myself off.
Could brush it off, yeah. Plaster's not the same.
Nah, job done. So carpentry was the one. That's it. So done carpentry for 3 years. Obviously working on a building site. My dad said, look, sort of unbeknown, learning how the system and the environment of building is. And then he got to a position he didn't have enough carpentry, and I wanted to hone my craft, wanted to make sure I was good at what my trade was. I don't want to just say you're a carpenter and someone goes to see you hang a door and you're terrible. You need to learn your trade by doing it every single day, repetition. So started on the big sites, working on the big sites. Had a couple of breaks when I become a sort of working foreman, so running 4 or 5 chippies a day when I was about 21, 22. And then had a big break in Barking in East London, and a sort of NHS walking centre was getting built. It was 150 rooms plus 2 blocks of flats on the top 2 floors. Oh, wow. I was the first chippy there. By the 6 months, I was running 30 carpenters a day when I was 24. So I was that's sort of how I've sort of transgressed my business by the managerial side, but obviously the theory and the practical. So obviously being a carpenter, knowing my trade, but then as you know, mate, man management and making sure you get the best out of your staff that you're working with. I think that's the difference between if someone just left school or went to uni and try and tell people who are experienced tradesmen and tradeswomen for so many years, telling them pointing fingers, they're not going to have it. But if you say to them, look, we got to get this job done. And I know we can get that job done in a day. Just do it for me, will you? And that's how the difference is between. It's like treat others like you like to be treated. You talk to people in the same manner, didn't you? So, and people, obviously our business is people. So that's out of carpentry business, and then just transgress people saying, do you know, a plasterer, do you know, a bricklayer, do you know this, and I was being kind and giving it out and thinking, hang on a minute, I'm a bit. It's in my family tradition. I'm a carpenter, so it just transgressed into.
I want to go back to a couple of things you just said, because I think they're so important, particularly because one of the main questions we get asked is a lot of people they see themselves as here, and where they want to get to is developments, but there's so many different ways you can get like from A to B. And obviously you've mentioned 2 really important things, the education element. And I think as much as you may not feel that you never practically use, like whether it was, A levels or what it was you done at college, in terms of long term, what you got from that in learning the basics of business, whether it's profit or loss or like SWOT analysis, I did the same. And those things stay with me forever, regardless of whether or not I ever actually had to go and present those to somebody and say, here's my qualifications. They physically, like, they are your qualifications. They're your everyday. What is academic becomes practical because you use those and you use them to elevate and build. And then also you saying like becoming, going from being an apprentice to running 30 people at the age of 24, a lot of people are looking at how can I get from A to B and I want to be here within 5 years. Well, even with that experience alone and having like that sort of skill set, you know how to run a team at that stage. If your trajectory was, I want to get straight into development, that would be something you could do because you've built up the contacts, the experience, you've built up like obviously a background of employment. So you have like the finances in place. So I think it's very important to obviously look at different journeys, and there's so many ways you can get into development, and you are now getting into development off the back of that experience. But the route to it is always different. But I think there's always a lot of similarities, which are, first get an education, some degree of education that you can use practically, then, find an area of expertise and specialize, and then hard work and graft. And those three things, generally speaking, like unless you're really unlucky, you get to where you wanna be in the long term. And I think that's what I hear from everybody. Like, and it's a different story, completely different. One person's gone to university and done 6 years to become an architect. One person has done an apprentice. Somebody's gone straight from, they left school at the age of whatever age. But like, there's the journey. Those steps tend to be the same, regardless of what what those steps are. People still take the same steps, which is really interesting.
No, very valid point, mate.
That's good. And where you're at home?
Yes,
so you're a builder that did a nice house. Because you do hear that builders always do their house last.
That's true. You saw my story. I'm building a bespoke seating area. I've done a little story yesterday. I built the stud work, waiting for the oak now, and I'm going to build my oak table myself as well.
Oh, nice.
And get some metal legs made up.
Nice. That's good.
Ready for the summer.
It's good to be able to do stuff while I'm lazy. The house is always the last I'm being traditional though. It's what you're supposed to do as a builder. You'll be off your guard against the grain a little bit. I have to speak to you about it, so you're doing it wrong.
That's it. Definitely.
That's good. And then what about any hints or tips for somebody, whether you can choose really, to be fair, for like if it's somebody who's looking to potentially either get into the trade, or somebody who's maybe planning an extension or planning a loft conversion, how would you ask either of those people to prepare for like their next steps and what they're doing?
Yeah, no problem, mate. Go with the first one, apprentice. I would 1,000,000% get into construction. Doesn't matter what age you are either. So many people I know have been bankers that turn into plumbers. So don't worry about your age as a definition factor to not get into construction. But the thing is with construction is it's not easy. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of perseverance and learning and loving what you do. It's, for a fact, mate, comes across in what you do. You love what you do. You care about what you do. You work hard at what you do. It's the same as what I do. But with apprenticeships, we need another younger generation. I'm very passionate about it because the younger generation has to move us guys forward, sort of younger potential sort of developers, builders, etc. Because we're all going to get older. There's no one else who's going to carry the baton on, is there? So without a doubt, they've got to look into. I mean, the politician. We're going to get a long story, but the politicians don't help as much as they should do. And it needs to be implemented, educated more clearer to parents and to schools about how you get the people in construction. Even just giving them a chance. If a child doesn't want to do it, that's understandable. It's giving them that interaction, giving them a chance to see what construction's about and how it works. So for that, I'll definitely get.
Because there's so many people that are just like that are maybe not like academic learners, but are amazing practical learners, and like. It's like, okay, we teach people DT at the moment, but DT is so like, it's not really practical. Like, it's not practical. They don't say, okay, look, yeah, like put this in a vice and that's it. That's what I remember from DT, putting stuff in a vice.
It's true.
But it's like, okay, what if you started to give people the basics in the same way you give people the basics of, chemistry, biology and physics? What if you gave people the basics of like joinery, like electrical or plumbing work. And then if somebody likes it, then carry that on and become an expert in the field. And I think that's a really good point, because I've had conversations about not just this, but financial literacy. That's another thing that's not taught in schools, to tell you that, your credit needs to be decent. You need to manage this. This is how you buy a house. This is how you go about getting a loan. This is how finance works. This is how so loads of different things like that. But I definitely think what you've touched on is really important as well. And for a lot of people, particularly for the younger people, there's so many amazing opportunities, particularly at the moment as well. There are loads of opportunities with internships. There should be more, but there is a lot. So definitely go and look into those, and hopefully you won't be surprised. Hopefully you'll know that the salaries long term, for plumbers, for electricians, that
there's good money. There's good money in construction.
It's very good, and it's also I'm talking sort of a residential plumber, electrician. When you go up to sort of managing sites and managing multiple electricians and dealing with larger scale commercial projects, and even contracting roles and stuff. It's ridiculous some of the money you can make. It's banker money, finance money. So I think there's
No, it's true, mate. Come on to your second part about people looking for an extension, a loft, etc. If they haven't got the drawings, then obviously we do design and build now. A lot of things is quite a taboo about it, but for our team, we got certified structural engineers and rebar architect we got on board. So to be honest, our fees are sort of a lot higher than some other companies that can offer sort of just drawings that you just throw in. Do you know what I mean? But I think the thing is with that is that you have to make sure that architects are there. Come back to what you said there, which is so paramount, is that if someone's just going to do some drawings so you can get it over the line for council and then you go building, compared to someone who's an actual rebar architect, where they'll know ascertain the layout of the joists, so they know where to put the toilet, they know where to make everyone else's life easier and cheaper in the long run. I think once again, you pay for what you get. So make sure you get some decent drawings, a decent spec, because you have them two hand in hand. When you go out to tender for 2 or 3 builders, maybe 4 builders, at least you're going to get the same estimate back, and then you'll just work out whose costs are reflective and what. So at least with that position, you'll have a comparative, complete like an understanding of what needs to be done, because most times than ever, a lot of people, it's no insult, and it's understandable that they'll give 3 or 4 different definitions of what the works they want to achieve, and then they're going to have 3 or 4 different variations of estimates from builders, because they haven't come out and been transparent and clear and define of what they want to achieve. So definitely make sure if you're wanting to get a costings and sort your numbers out, then make sure you do a decent.
I think I came in 100k recently above another builder. But then I looked at it and I was like, but they're not even the same. There's these quotes, there's nothing the same in these quotes and whatever. Question for you actually, which I'm going to link into another question. Do you charge for quotations?
To be honest, at the moment, yes, we do now, mate. In the past, sort of getting the business going, I didn't. But what we do is we charge a fee for a survey, for the estimate. And if you do go ahead with us as a contractor, then we waiver it. So
I'm the same side. Yeah, I charge a fee, but then I charge like a site visit fee or like quotation fee, etc. And then should you go ahead, then we take that off, obviously, the cost of the job or what have you. Because I think, especially if I'm doing a really in-depth quote, it's a lot of work for somebody else. And a lot of the time, somebody who can't be bothered to do that work, what they will do is they will take that quote and just say, I'll do it 5% cheaper, but I'll do everything on the job. But it's kind of like, okay, that person who's had that attitude towards even giving you a quote, what's their attitude going to be like towards doing your job? The reason I asked that question was, where was it? As someone trying to get into property flipping, how would you recommend accurately pricing a refurbishment?
That might be something to you, or is it to me? Is someone trying to get property?
I'm passing everything to you, even if it's to me. I'm still going to give it back to you, like the Shuckle brothers.
To me, to you. How would you recommend about going accurately pricing? I think the reason I asked it just goes back to what I said, mate. The
reason I asked the question before was that technically, I don't know. Do you mind telling people what you charge for a quote?
It's 200 plus VAT.
So, for example, you're going to do a job, or you're looking at a job potentially. You're looking at a job maybe you've bought, you're going through the conveyancing process and you want to make sure you got your numbers right. Now you're hoping to make, I don't know, 30 grand, 50 grand, £50,000, for example. I would say you pay somebody the money to get an accurate quote. You've then got an accurate quote. It's £200. If the quote's right and you're happy with the quote, you've then got a builder who's given you a good quote, good scope of works. Maybe there's some stuff you can say, look, okay, how about we dial it back and we don't go for the bifold, just go for some French doors. What's that going to cost me? X, Y, or Z. But realistically, I'd say obviously get your quotes in, but make sure you get good quotes in, and potentially a lot of the time, don't be afraid to pay for expertise. In the same way you're going to pay your architect, you pay your solicitor, pay your builder, because they're equally qualified to be able to give you bits of information alongside.
I think it's also, especially it sort of more comes to the fact of sort of property investment, where if you pay for our services, I mean, like 200 is probably for about an hour, 2 hours max. But if I've been told before that if, say for instance, you're going to looking at a property you want to buy, right? If you pay a good amount of money for us to come and have a look at it for a day or half a day, right? That might save you hundreds of thousands of pounds by buying something and then finding out, oh dear, why didn't I pay it? Instead of scrimping and going, oh, I'll do it, I'll pay for it anyway.
Because a lot of people will go and get a home buyer survey for £400, and a home buyer survey, they're going to look around and they're going to say, that's damp, that's damp, that's damp, and that's basically what you're going to get. So, like, to get, again, the person who's going to build the job. Look, everyone's coming in with great questions now, but we're going soon. So you're going to have to tune in next week. Are we going to have you on again at some point, Chris?
Well, welcome, mate. I appreciate it. Always appreciate it, mate. Maybe come my one this time, mate.
Yeah, no, I'll come over there. No problem. So this is a question for you again. What capacity do you have to build? Do you take on full builds from demolition to key handover?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, we do that. Yeah, so basically we've got a service and a team that we can do that. Obviously, if you want to DM us, add us, and we can talk about it in further detail. But we offer a building service, the D&B service. We're builders. We know what we do. We're passionate about what we do. Our service and reputation is high. It's clear to see. We've got nothing to hide. We're always honest, reliable, and trusted, which is the most important thing. And that's why we're trying to become sort of London's go-to builder, because we're clear. We want to be offer that service to everyone. And it's that, obviously, the same as you, mate. You've got a great brand, you've got a great logo, people trust what you do, and that's what we want to do. We've in the past had customers before saying, we're so proud that we have your logo and your holding on the front of your house. When I ask them, obviously, the permission every time, can we put it up? They're like, more the merrier, because it's a sign of something that's got a good builder with it. Do you know what I mean? And we're proud as well.
Good. No, that's really good. I think this leads on to us. I think it's a good place to end it, but also, it leads on to an amazing segue for you to pitch your business. Obviously, you pitched it already, but where can people find you? Somebody just asked about a full job. How can they get in contact with you? Where can they get quotes? Are you going to be anywhere where people can see any more of this great little gems that you've been dropping?
Appreciate it, mate. Basically, check out my website. It's squaremilebuilders.co.uk. Also, you can email us if you want to get in touch with anything, or even advice, not just work, it's any advice in building relation. info@squaremilebuilders.co.uk. Also, we're on Instagram, as you know. We're also on Clubhouse as well, as you are, mate. You and me in Clubhouse. We'll maybe do another little room soon if people are on Clubhouse. Yeah,
no, definitely. I'll be back. I've taken a little bit of a Clubhouse detox, but I'll be back soon. I think I'm going to be on Tuesday at 7.
You should come on our show, mate. I've got an official show, haven't I? The Milk and Two Sugars show on a Monday.
So I'll be there. Get me on, bro. I'll be there. Get me on. But yeah, now listen, for everybody who's just saying they came on late, you were told. So it's same time every week, 6 p.m. on a Sunday, different guest every week. Every week we've got somebody amazing on. Next week we've got Tej, so go and have a follow of Tej Talks, the king of all things yellow. He'll be there next week. He's a developer. Has done about 14 deals in the last 2 years, loads of flips, BRRR deals, and everything in between. I am going to put this up so you can watch everything back on the YouTube. So it's Property by Kazy, all one word, on the YouTube. So if you missed it, don't worry. But I do expect you to put on those post notifications. They're not here, but I'm going to pretend they're here, like there's something flashing on the screen, like I'm a real YouTuber. So yeah, turn those on. Again, this segment is all about, really, for me, an opportunity to give back to the people like Chris who supported me, to you guys who have come in and asked questions and support as well, and also just to put out little gems that hopefully help everyone. So Next week we're back. Ask somebody else. My opportunity to be relaxed, and like I've done to Chris, put him on the hot spot, and he's done very, very well. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week. See ya,
Take
guys.
care. Thank you very much, Kazy. All the best.
Bye.
Take care.